Hey guys, it's once again 2/3 of Triangle of Truth, and we're so excited to do this. We've got a full panel today, and I'm like sitting here in my chair half screaming. So I'm gonna let Jay take it over here. Yeah, Jay take it over for introing all the people. Take it off, Jay.
Okay, so first of all, we are talking about Pocus Hocus. We're going to bring on most of the creative team. We're going to start with colorist Jason Smith.
Hi.
Hello.
Next, we have Will Radford, co-creator and writer.
Hey, everybody.
Then we have Alan Dunford, co-creator and writer.
I told you to bring me on last.
I have to do it this way because this is the third or fourth time I've seen this man live. And not only is he live, but now he's live with us.
I know. Listen. I understand. You may as well go ahead and knock the rest of us off. just have him bright and flashing.
Amazing superstar letterer Dave Lentz.
Hi.
Hello.
Super awesome. It's very, very just surreal right now. Alan and Will, great to see you guys again.
Good. We're so happy to be back. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having us.
Super awesome.
I can't believe they invited you back.
To finally see Dave and Jason face to screen, screen to face. Talked to Dave a lot messaging, but I've never actually talked to Dave face to face. So super excited and awesome. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. This whole panel is great. I'm gonna try to keep as calm as I can.
Zero calmness. There's zero calmness.
No, there's no calm.
Jason has a tendency to do that to people, so I get it. Yeah.
It was so cool. We actually got to sit down and we were having just weird little chit chats. 30 minutes before he showed up 30 minutes early. I was trying to put my dog to bed and I'm just sitting here lullabying him, and all of a sudden I hear on camera, "You have an audience."
She just sits there serenading the dog.
My dude.
Oh my goodness.
So
where do we even start today?
I wanted to do questions, but instead I think I want to do some Pocus Chapter 3 spoilers. I wanted to kind of do a review with the creators and folks that worked on the book. Super new to this. This is the first time we've ever done this, so hopefully it doesn't tank.
It won't.
You guys are on here. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. First, the biggest spoiler I want to pull up, just because I'm super biased towards this one, is spoiler.
Oh, are you ready?
Yes.
Bam.
That one.
Oh, yeah.
Look at those beautiful people.
I just want to know whose idea was that.
So that was mine. Well, Will and I talked about it, and then I talked about it with Dave as well. Jason, I think I even mentioned it to you at some point. It was just our way of saying thank you to you guys for all the love and support. Jay, we talked about it before with Dave sending you a copy of Pocus. Or Dave, did you send him a copy of Pocus, or did you just send him some of the pages?
I want to say I sent a copy. I don't really remember.
Okay.
You sent me one of 30 things you were working on.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. That's the part of the problem.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just our way. Really, is just saying thank you guys, and we wanted to put you in there somehow. And when Brian drew up that page, I was like, okay, perfect. We can just put all three of them right front and center. And I just used the picture of all you guys wearing your Horus T-shirts that you got after the unboxing, and just sent it over. And then that's how you guys made it to Pocus 3.
That is awesome.
Oh my gosh, he showed me that because I had just walked in from work, and he's like, "Did you see?" And I'm like, "Did I see what?" I was at work. And he's like, "Look," and I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool."
Well, I'm happy you guys like it. And yeah, Jason did a fantastic job bringing you guys to life too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Those colors.
I think that's the only time I've ever had not crazy colored hair is in that picture.
Yeah, well, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit. Okay?
Oh no! I was like, oh, black. thought that for a minute too. I was like, what if I did red and black? I think that would be cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know what I would look like with black hair. I got it now. I got it.
Yeah.
Inspiration. Yeah.
But at least you scored green skin, so I mean that's something, right?
It is my favorite color.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't know that. Good job, Jason.
Actually, it's my favorite color also.
Yeah.
Plus her saying bleh was just that was so perfect. Because she says that all the time. Wait, that's the bias spoiler I have. Let's get into the real talk here. So we start this book. The ending of the book, Emily finds out, what's going on. That she opens the chest, right? At the end of the second one?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, she opens the chest and finds his book that is his summoning book that has the contract in it.
Right. And trying to remember it because it was just I've read the book so many times, and then once I start talking about it, I blank on it.
That's
so
okay. Us when we wrote it, so I mean, like,
so she finds out that Horace can talk in the second one. Pocus and Emily go to the demon door. I guess what I'm going to ask is, so they end up going through the door. So they're going to hell. Is there a reason Emily is already in color when they drop through the door?
Yeah, so they get to the door, and then the idea with it was, and Jason did a really good job with this, especially on the cover, of kind of hinting at it. And then whenever we actually start our descent into hell, we go ahead and make Emily in kind of a muted color, and then we really show the aura around her once they actually land, because she still has her soul. Will, do you want to go and talk about that decision that we made pretty early on to have that?
Yeah, the decision to have Emily in collar.
Yeah.
That was something we went back. Well, I mean, that was something that started when we first started talking about what hell was going to look like and whether or not, we knew that we wanted it to be in collar. And then we played around with this idea of like, okay, well, are we going to, reverse that kind of and make both of them black and white to kind of reinforce that they're from a more like dull Victorian kind of, dull would be the wrong word, but sort of like restrained Victorian kind of world, or, are they in color also? And then we just we found a happy medium. The idea was that it's like, and I think a better visual way to communicate to the audience that, she still has her soul and she's kind of like a target in this world. So, it was a really cool, it's a decision that I'm very proud of us for, I think, because, the golden rule is always show, don't tell. And though we do, discuss it and talk about it by way of dialogue, I think it's just really, great that it's visually illustrated that way. So it ties in with this idea of like collar splashes and increasingly having those mean something as opposed to just being like random stylistic choices, if that makes sense. So
yeah, and then naturally we fed everything over to Jason. So Jason, what were your process with collaring everything?
It's just one of the things that really drew me to the story of it was in the beginning, it was a lot of black and white with just hints of color. And then since then it's grown and now it's color, but in some places it's in reverse. There's less black and white, it's more color, and we're on the flip side of things. My process of it, it's a process of just coloring it how I normally would. It's just with you give me a lot of free range. Me and you, we go back and forth quite a bit on certain things, and choosing different colors, the way that it feels, the mood, setting up the mood for it, the effects, and all sorts of like glows of what's happening with her, and a lot of back and forth, and more of a team effort.
Yeah, I just to add to that really quick. I mean, I know we've talked about Brian a lot, and how he's able to sort of like the silent movie idea, that illustratively you can figure out what's going on just by looking at his illustrations. But I feel like the color in this series is almost like a second character.
Yeah.
It really stands out and gains some pretty strong significance, especially as we go deeper into the story, and we're all sort of figuring out ways to do this. So, I mean, mad props, Jason. It's awesome work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the other thing too that I absolutely love is how Dave always seems to somehow match the coloring with the lettering too, and then to also accentuate that as well. So that was something that Will, Dave, and myself actually talked about early, was what can we do with the speech bubbles to also give those power as well. And one of my favorite speech bubbles that he has, aside from Ivan, is what he did with Horace. So, Dave, do you want to share your secret with the amazing Horace stuff and the hints you did?
Yeah, just to give him a more magical appearance, which is why I think he's the only character that has a glow around his bubbles, right? Like it makes him special. I mean, he has every reason to be special, especially with what's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like with the I feel like with the lettering, Dave's lettering and his designs there, it's like every single character, and you instinctively when you read this, it's like how they talk, like you can hear their voices in your head when you're reading it, and I don't think that we would have gotten that without Dave. So
yeah,
awesome stuff.
See, that's an awesome explanation. I was thinking way too easy with it. I was like, are they about to tell me that she's magical? Because she's in color. I'm so used to when there's magic being displayed, that's where the color shows up.
Yeah, because it's the magic that we give to everything surrounding it, right? Like hell itself is, full of magic, but really what the magic is and what everyone's wanting is souls. Mm-hmm. And Emily has the most magical property right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
There it is.
So, now I got to talk about the cat.
Okay.
She's sleeping right behind me. Oh, well, she was. She's gone now.
Jason's got his cat behind him. So
yeah, I was going to say, it was that or a skunk. I thought it was a skunk. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I would have had a lot more questions if it was a skunk. I just keep watching it, wanting to just
Yeah.
But what made y'all decide to go with a cat? Do you think cats are evil? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Dave, you're out of this one. So this is just a question for Will and myself and Jason. So Will and I mean, obviously we're both cat owners, and we just Will, it was just kind of something that we just wrote as we were going, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what happened was that I had this idea for a gag, mm-hmm. and we really just kind of built off of that. And I had the idea for a gag because I love cats. I own a cat. And we when we started writing this, it was like she was always around, fussing at us. So we developed this kind of inside joke that she is like the real mastermind behind Pocus Hocus.
Yeah.
And so
a cat could probably write what we wrote.
Maybe, yeah. But that's kind of how it all started. And then we started toying with this idea of having a cat in the comic book because Alan and I, both, my cat and one of his cats look almost identical. His is just a little bit fatter.
Hey,
yeah,
she has a problem.
Yeah. So
you body shame his cat.
Yeah, get out of here.
The first step is admitting you have a problem.
I'm trying to get mine to. She begs for food all the time. I'm trying to get her to eat more, but so and it kind of came out of this idea that we wanted to incorporate the cat. Then I had this idea for a joke, and I called Alan, and he seemed to like it, and he threw in his ideas for it, and then it just kind of grew, and it's one of my very favorite sequences that we've written in Pocus so far. I still think it's really funny. So,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Jason actually messaged me after I sent him the page, and I think your words were, "Oh, sweet Jesus."
Yeah.
Whenever I sent you the transformation page,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's such a dope panel. It is such a dope panel. Like that.
Yeah.
So when I read it the first time, I was like, "Oh, that's sweet." I mean, a cat in hell, but I don't know. That was telling me, do you think cats deserve to be in hell?
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
And then later on, I'm like, well, that's why you should be nice to cats because look what happened.
Yeah.
Pocus doesn't like them, I think, because there's too much of a personality clash. They're both competing for attention too much. So he's not a fan of cats, but Alan and I are. But I mean, just the idea that they are the like ultimate, just the ultimate demons, or even the idea that they're ultimate gods or something is just hilarious to me.
Yep.
So that's kind of how it started.
Awesome. All right. So some of the greatest thing that happened, I think, is this cat. Just wait till y'all see this. Like it's hard to put into words, but this cat just weighs laced. There we go. Hold on.
Strike that, reverse it.
Lays waste. There we go. To all these demons, and then just transforms back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell just happened? The first time I read it, I was like, oh, sweet little cat. All right, whatever. And then next thing you know, this cat takes all these demons out.
Yeah, it's and I know that Alan and I, we talked about this idea of like, well, what is this thing going to look like when it transforms? And of course, we ultimately ended up letting Brian, do his
It
thing.
sounds like we always take the easy way out. It's like
don't.
we think it's like, what do we want to do with something? It's like,
Let's talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because remember, Alan, I said I think it should look like the thing on Sleepwalkers, to the Stephen King movie Sleepwalkers. And then and then we went back and forth with these ideas of what it could look like, and then of course Brian ended up knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just this gigantic original creation mutated cat monster.
Yep.
And it's great. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we love it.
Oh my
So
goodness.
let me ask y'all this. We'll start kind of. Well, hold on. There we go. Start kind of that way. So Jason, what was your favorite part of working on this book, story wise? Like, did you have a favorite sequence or
of this issue or
of this? Yeah, I'm sorry. Of issue 3.
Let's just do a two-parter. What's your favorite part about this issue, and then why do you love Will and I so much? Because we gave you this.
I mean, if we're gonna ask it now. Right?
Well, to answer Jay, I like overall. I like how the story it's growing, how the characters are developing. For issue 3, there's pages that I would get and start working on them, and I would be working on a panel, zoom out, and I get a laugh. There's just like a laugh that's there, like just something that just breaks that tension, and then you turn a page and there's something devastating happening. Like all the demons are apart.
Nice. How about you, Dave? What was your favorite part of working on this and story wise?
My favorite page is definitely the raining blood page, where it's just all the parts and everything, just because they're like Brian absolutely killed their like just how they're standing, just like their position and everything. It's just like they just are like they're trying to fall between, like hold themselves as tight as they can between like the bloody raindrops and the bloody pieces and everything like that. And then like that whole page is gold. And then when I sent the page to Alan, I was like, how about these little jokes that we throw in here for these other demons that are dying? Like, and that was just like the funniest thing to me, because like the one is just like, tell my mom not to look under my bed, and it's just like a pile of hearts down on the bottom. And then the other one's talking about its feelings and everything like that. I wish I'd expressed my feelings in life.
Oh, Now, I know Alan and Will's answer is going to be the whole thing, but can y'all pick something? We'll start with Alan on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think my favorite part of this, and this is always the stuff that I love the most, is whenever Will and I get together, aside from being able to just be creative. This issue itself was very important because I feel like this was the first issue that we finally got to, not saying that there wasn't a lot that happened in issue 1 and 2. This was the first issue where whenever I sent the script to Brian, Jason, and Dave, we finally got to, I felt like, cut them loose. Because then Jason can really show us what he can do with. We've seen how he can kill gray tones, black and whites. Now we get to see full color for Pocus. We get to see Dave finally go in and put in bone crunching sounds and all this stuff. And Brian is, you guys seen it. He
amazing.
Above and beyond what I could ever want. But I think my favorite part of the issue is actually at the beginning when Emily confronts Pocus, because finally we get to see Emily's character start developing, and that she's not just going to sit around and wait for Pocus to figure it out. She's going to be the one that really take charge. So it's kind of a cool relationship between the assistant and the magician. And then now she's kind of dragging him around because it seems like she's more in charge than what he is.
Yeah, I think that there was way less exposition that we had to worry about with this particular issue. I mean, the second issue, we're out of like introducing Pocus's backstory, but then we wanted to give Emily her time to kind of establish her character. So now we've got these guys, and we're really propelling them into the story. So I love this whole issue, but like we're talking spoilers now, right? For issue.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Just making sure.
There
I love the skin the skin bit with where Pocus and Emily don the demon skin, and then it's discovered that the mother thinks that they are her children.
Yeah.
Like I just think that's probably my favorite part. It's just that for me, in my insanely sick sense of humor. It's just that like gut punched moment where the punchline happens and you don't know whether to laugh or whether to just be like, oh god.
Bit of A, bit of B.
Yeah, so I do want to talk about that bit. That bit Will wrote in the middle of writing issue 2, and we shelved it. We're like, okay, well, we could probably use this for issue 3. And It was just so funny how it worked, because whenever we were first setting up our story beats for issue 3, it's like, okay, well, they're in hell. Now what? Where do we go? How do we get them there? And then it's like we reached on the top shelf and pulled off the demon skin idea. It's like, why don't they run into demons and then they wear their skin? And then, and I do want to give props to, one, I think that was probably the hardest I ever laughed whenever I got a page back from Brian, was just because of how terrible they looked in the skin. And then Jason being able to find the little splashes of flesh tones to put in behind the demon skin that they're wearing. And then Dave, Dave, I hate that you're on this right now because I can see your face. But Dave being instrumental with picking up little things and then adjusting as we go. Because I always send the scripts to Dave ahead of time, ask him for any feedback or anything. And I think this was the script that you had to touch the least, which was awesome. But him just changing around a little bit of the dialogue, just saying, Pocus, this is your worst idea ever. That just added so much to that. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, Jason, you're the colorist on this. Do they tell you, or do they give you kind of an idea of colors you should use? How do you look at a panel and decide what colors you want to bring to it?
I think honestly, Brian brings a lot to that visually beforehand. He lays down a good foundation, and I go off of him. I go back and forth with Alan to see for certain effects and things like that. And we touch base here and there to see, what will work, what won't. But he, usually get just full control and just go with it creatively with it.
Yeah, that's something Will and I talked about too early on, especially when we're writing the scripts. It's like we'll try to visualize what these things will look like, but at the end of the day, let's just give everyone control. We try to do our best to just let everyone work because they let us work. So we try to pay that respect back. Yeah,
that's the beauty of working on comic books, I think, and working in like this realm where like there's no limit to like your imagination. Is that then that translates to, okay, well, there's no limit to the imaginations of our collaborators either.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody is I hope it feels like they can bring their A game. And I just love that, because I love collaboration anyway. But I mean, I also like to have, some creative control of my area,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like comics is a great way to kind of give everybody that independent freedom and that creative satisfaction. So
yeah, and then I strongly feel this, but we have such an amazing team, like all 5 of us together. I feel like we do bring something really special and unique.
And that brings me to my question. How did all of you like get together? Like, how did this like
Match.com
snowball into Match.com? Okay, well, there we go. So like,
they were
how did
swiping.
everybody get roped in? Like
yeah. So I guess they all just couldn't resist our charm, Will. I think that's really all it was. So Mike Tiener actually, he gave us Will, go ahead and you start with the Brian part, because you usually word this really well.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, Alan and I, obviously, I mean, we've known each other since high school. We live in the same general area. And when we had written the script, we, talked to Mike Tiener, who had, a lot more experience with this kind of thing, and was, had made these connections, and we sent it to him and kind of got his feedback for it, and wanted to, find the right artist, first and foremost for, to illustrate it. So he was the one who suggested that we check out Brian's work, and then we went on and looked at Brian's portfolio, and we were just kind of blown away. And we were like, this is someone we want to work with, because I think even in that moment, we're on Pocus, right now, and it's going great. But like I think we've known from day one that this is somebody who like shares our taste in terms of genre, in terms of style, and loves horror and fantasy as much as we do. So that's how it started with Brian.
And Brian is, I wish you were here right now, but he'll watch this in the replay. He is so professional and so good. And it's awesome to get to a point, though, where we all trust each other, in the sense of, we're pretty much just giving each other final product. And there's, I don't think, little to no editing involved. There might be a couple things some of us miss here or there. Dave catches, misspellings or misnumbers in the scripts and everything. But like, for the most part, everyone just has trust within each other, which is great. But back to the team process. So Mike sent us several colorists as well, and Jason's work just stuck out to us. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this, but Jason worked on Mike's first comic book, which was Dragonfly, which I have a copy of it. You can't see it, but it's up there. And I was already a fan of Jason before I knew it. And then Dave, there's no story to it. He was you were the only person he recommended. That's it. Yeah,
I'm the obvious choice.
Yeah.
What made you say yes, though? Like that's my question. Like you're presented with this, and then you're like, yeah, sure, okay.
For Dave, it was money. I don't know what Jason was.
Yes. That's exactly that.
Actually, that's a good question. I do want to know that. Why did you say yes?
Who are we talking to? Me?
Anyone that will listen.
It was money.
Okay.
It was 100%.
Okay.
For me, it was a bit different, because you said in the beginning that it's going to be black and white. I haven't worked on very many black and white books, and you said there would be splashes of color, and I've never worked on one that was black and white with splashes of color. I was like, that sounds like it'll be fun. That'll be different. I'll get to explore new things.
Yeah.
And money.
Yeah, and money.
There you go. I was going to say you gave the true artistic answer, and then you threw money in at the end. So I mean, it's all fine.
Nice balance.
I don't know why I just had like a moment of like from Miss Congeniality where she's on stage, she gives this like beautiful answer, and everybody's like, and then she's like, and world peace.
And world peace.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the money.
And the money. Always.
And everybody's like, "Oh yeah."
Well, and I've said it before. If you look at 99% of Kickstarters, you're going to see Dave Lentz on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can also tell you this: Dave picks good projects.
Yeah.
Dave, you're like on 2 super groups right now. This one with Garrett and Dr. Christie.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, if Dave's working on it, it's going to be great too.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the things. Like if you look at our shelves and shelves of stuff, like your name pops up a lot. And then Jay was telling me about this project, and he was like, "Oh, and Dave Lentz," and I'm like, "Okay, back it, give the money,
Yeah.
give them money."
I have
And
my
then
own
they
wing
told
in
me
the.
about a bunny, and I was like, "Give them more money."
I have my own wing in the library.
Yeah, you do.
You really do.
Yeah, they don't do it by author; they just do it by letterer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the only good way to do it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that I can't believe that I'm saying out loud, but I was
Speak your heart, Jay.
in my 30s when I found out that it wasn't the artists and the writers that did everything in a book. I always thought that the artists did the line work, they did the coloring, they drew the bubbles out, and the writers just went in and filled the bubbles.
Yep.
I didn't even know what a letterer was for the longest time. I think nowadays, if somebody says letterer, Dave's the first name I can think of.
Yeah. Will and I, we talked about that. Like we feel like we have the easy process, right? We just have to write the thing, and then we give it over to these 3 amazing people, and then we get something way better than we could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
See, you say easy, man, but that thing that you sent the other day, that read like a movie script, and I was like, I want to read the comic, but I want to see this movie now.
Yeah.
It was so good. So y'all don't sell yourself short on the writing. You guys are fantastic.
It's a project we can't talk about, but Jason and Dave, you know what it is.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, Dave. Okay, so just we're gonna tiptoe around it. Dave, he gave a stunning, glowing review for it, and I think Jason likes it as well.
Very much.
Jason too is pleased.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe we are all pleased with said thing that we are not discussing right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
But
Good.
it was fantastic, and I want to say you sent Sean a Pocus script to kind of show him how the process worked, and I read that too.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm just like, y'all, this reads like a movie.
Yep.
It's so good.
That's what I'll give. Definitely, I can't take. Yeah, I can't take any credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all Will. Because of his theater background, that I think that helps us. I guess that's a good question then now for Jason and Dave. I don't know how scripts are typically given, but because we write it like a screenplay, does that work well for you guys as far as the process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done. Perfect. All right.
I guess more on that question is, do you like that better than the way that like other people do it? Or is there just like everybody has their own way of doing a script for you guys?
It seems to be like there is like a blueprint, but it varies quite a bit from what I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah, it does vary greatly from writer to writer. It all depends on like how comfortable they are with, the formatting of things, and some just aren't. They just, it's just like, it's just a continuous story, and like there are certain writers that I work with where you can just pick the words out, and it's like, okay, well, this goes in this panel because of how the artist drew it. It's not like, well, this is panel 1, this is panel 2, this is panel 3. It's just like, this is the page. Put it where you think it looks best.
So let me ask you, between Alan and Will and Garrett, whose scripts are easier to read?
Dave just signs out.
Yep. This is the part where I
all right, guys. Bath time came early.
Yep. I hit the ejector seat button, but it's not working.
We know the answer, Garrett. We all know
we
the
had
answer.
dinner with them a couple weeks back when they were down here for their world tour for Good Boy.
That's awesome.
And they said such beautiful things about you. And it's just like, what'd you get? You get, did you enjoy working with them as well?
Yes. They're now my favorites because it said such nice things.
Oh, Dave, I hate you so much.
Well, that's fine.
They did only have good things to say. I will say that. They did only have good things to say. So there you go.
Dave wants the check to clear. He don't care if you like him.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Money over everything. Dave Lentz.
right. Casuals everything around me. That's right.
Now I gotta ask about that, Dave. How did you get into lettering? Like, how does that process even happen?
By accident, really. I mean, in all honesty, I've been a graphic designer for over 15 years now. Have loved comics all my life, and when you're growing up and you're a kid that reads comics, and you are even remotely artistically inclined, you want to be the artist. Like that's your deal. It's like, oh man, I want to be Jim Lee. I want to be Todd McFarlane. That's the goal. And then you eventually get to a point where you realize, I'm not that good. So I'm going to do other things. And that other thing was graphic design, because I was also told to go into like fine arts, but I don't like to get my hands messy. So I'm not going to paint. I'm not doing that. So again, graphic design was the way to go. And so I did that. And then a buddy of mine, it's 3 or 4 years ago now already. He was just like, man, why don't you try lettering? It's like, you already know the ups and downs of graphic design. You've been reading comics all your life. Why don't you just try that? And I was like, all right. And then here we are.
Nice. I can tell you this. With artists, they have a certain style, right? You are so different between your books. I can't be like, that's the Dave Lentz style, other than it looks awesome. Other than it looks awesome. You do some great things. What is Periwinkle? Periwinkle, there's one of the panels, and I think it's introducing the story, but you took, I can't remember what it was, but you put it in the middle of the snow.
Mm-hmm.
That was the chapter 1 break.
Yeah. The chapter 1 bit, yeah.
Okay.
That looked so good.
Yeah, it looked like it was drawn in there. God, I hate
Yes.
Oh, thanks, man.
That was so good.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. Like, I have a weird thing about, hey, Dave's on this book. I'm going to check it out because Dave picks great projects.
And I kind of want to ask everybody this question. Like, how did you get to what you're doing now? Like, Will, I was saying you had a theater background.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get to where you are now? Like, what was the bridge?
Well, I've always loved writing, whether it be for theater, specifically, when it's been my own projects that I've worked on just on my own time, it's been screenplays. And so I've tried to learn that format as much as I can. I do think it's funny. And I wanted to mention this earlier, just as a quick aside. Like, I remember thinking when Alan came to me and asked if I, wanted to work on a comic book, and we started talking about these ideas. I'd always, up until that point, I'd always wanted to work on a comic book because I remember watching that movie American Splendor years ago with Paul Giamatti and seeing the way that he would write, he would draw like little stick figures and things like that, but then have the dialogue in the panels. And I remember thinking, okay, there's more freedom here to kind of like, you don't have to worry about this weird, bizarre format. And then we start writing. And by that point, I'm so familiar with screenplays that it looks exactly like a screenplay. So anyway, I've always loved doing that. And, I love storytelling. And like I said, I've always wanted to work on comics ever since I was in high school. I mean, I got into it through a little bit of a different, not medium, but a different type of comic book than you usually hear about. I was reading like some indie underground stuff. I was reading like Blankets and Daniel Klaus, Ghost World, Ice Haven, stuff like that. And I made me realize, wow, this can be a fantastic outlet for like self-expression and imaginative ideas. So when Alan mentioned it, we started talking about Pocus and developing it. It was like, yeah, absolutely. It was like a no-brainer.
Awesome. And what about you, Jason? How did you get to like everything that you do now? Like, where's your bridge?
I lost my job and I went to DeviantArt, saw a posting there looking for a colorist, and I was like, I'll give that a shot.
Yeah.
And I did that for a year as a just full time, just picking up whatever job. And after a year, my first big gig was working with Mark Silvestri on Rise of the Magi. And then after that, I did studio work for Hi-Fi for years after that.
Wow.
That's awesome. So like just picking that up, just like, oh, sure, I'll give it a try. And then have you just like kind of like, I want to stay here. This is where I want to stay. I have found it.
No.
Best to be honest.
Like Dave said, you always want to be the artist. You want that. And I think all of us, we all want our own creative project, something that we say there and say that it's ours, that it's our own. And being a colorist, it's great because you get to explore a lot. And this book, it's just a lot of fun to work on because of the differences working with the black and white and those splashes of color and vice versa. But process with coloring is always different just because artists change. There's a lot of different artists that you work with, so you work with a lot of different styles to try and not overtake the artist, but work with, complement the artist. So it's always been a learning experience.
That's awesome. Okay, so what about you, Alan? Last but definitely not least, what was your sort of like bridge into where you are now?
I don't really have one. That's the problem. like I'm just I'm a weird dude anyway. And I just have all these crazy ideas, and I've always wanted to do something with them. And Will and I, for years, we talked about doing like our own little sketch show. I remember we talked about that in high school, and we would try to write out different just crazy, weird things that we would think of. And we thought, this would be so funny. But I think it just kind of hit. And I just decided, I think the 2020 lockdown probably had a lot to do with it. But, you're just like, I guess we'll just make a comic book. And then I presented the idea of Pocus to Will. And then we are here now.
Hold on a second. That was really like, I guess we'll make a comic book.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I think I was gonna just to kind of illustrate maybe how the stakes were a little higher. I think for 2020 for a lot of people was this moment, especially creative people and artists, was this moment of like, wow, okay, it's do or die time. Yep. It's time to anything could happen at any moment. This pretty much confirms it. So now it's time to really do what we want to do. And so Alan, I think, is selling himself a little bit short here because he has an insane knowledge of comic books and not just comic books. I mean, theology, mythology, that kind of thing. And that translates into a lot of the stuff that we're doing because a lot of his ideas will be derived from that. And for, again, there are things we're working on that we can't talk about yet, but just ideas that he'll have will come from, mythology and things like that, or reference that I had no clue about. And I mean, I went to theater school. So it's really, I think bringing that to the table is super, super important. Sometimes I'll know what will work in a panel that I won't be aware of because in my mind I'm just like hearing the dialogue or the banter back and forth or something. So that's very critical and crucial also, I think.
So with that too, I don't know if you guys have it pulled up. Do you guys have Brian's question for him whenever he got first started?
Well, to answer the question of what made you go for a comic artist instead of traditional artist for Brian Belando, Brian says, I've been drawing since I was a kid, and comics art is the one I'm always fascinated with. I was exposed to cartoons and pop culture, though, at a very young age, with the likes of Thundercats, Transformers, Masters of the Universe, and later on, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, X-Men, and the Batman animated series. It was the death of Superman that really brought me to the world of comics and makes me dream to become a comics artist someday. But only after my second job, not comics related, that I get to work on a comics project. Published locally, though, but it was something I'm proud of. Okay, it was published locally, something he's proud of. That's the start of my comics journey. I've said it to Brian many times because I'm friends with all of y'all on Facebook, and every time Brian posts something, I'm in awe. I'm like, how is this guy not more well known?
Yep.
How is he not more well known? And I've also asked him, the red and black that he uses, is that a stylistic choice, or are those just colors that he likes? And he basically said both. The Batman that he did.
Y'all, yeah, it was the Dracula for me.
Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter. Yeah. We're very lucky to have Brian. Like 100%.
Yeah. He's full of surprises.
Like we sent him our questions, and he sent them back, and every single one of them, I'm like, man, this is amazing. This is not fair.
Yeah.
Small tear. No.
And all those cartoons he named, those same ones I watched when I was a kid too.
So. Oh yeah.
So he said Thundercats. I was like, thunder. Oh.
And then of course, death of Superman. Superman, for me, I don't care what anybody says. He has always been my favorite. He will always be my favorite.
You're allowed to be wrong. That's fine.
Everybody says, well, he never has any problems. And I'm thinking, folks, he has godlike power, but he decides to do good with it. Like, this guy could sneeze and blow somebody apart. I mean,
that's a good point.
Lots of strength, lots of control. He's got to do that constantly so he doesn't hurt people.
And he's got to pretend to be one of us.
That's the worst part of it, right?
The hardest part.
I always see that monologue from Kill Bill, which is like brilliant, or the end of the second Kill Bill, where he talks about that. Like, Clark Kent is the way he perceives the human race. Yeah.
So speaking of DC and in the big name comics, and I want to start with Jason on this one. Is there a comic company or a character that you would love to work on?
Well, I've worked on the big two. I've worked on quite a few of those. I want to work on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I haven't touched those characters yet. I mean, I've worked on Batman and Superman and a lot of the DC characters and X-Men, Wolverine, but I haven't touched the Ninja Turtles yet. So
somebody call IDW right now.
If you had the chance, where would you touch them?
on this accurate
ball.
On the
shelf.
On that.
So one of your favorite properties you haven't had the chance to color yet? The Turtles? Yeah,
I want that
one. That's a good one. That's a good one. You want it? Would you want it to be one of the original runs, or just any Turtles?
Oh, I don't care.
You don't care?
It can even be just a cover or a short, as long as I get to touch the Turtles.
That'll be the quote of the whole thing.
Yes. I can't wait. I hope someday this happens. I want somewhere on like a special cover that you do. He's like, look, I finally touched the Turtles.
That's going to be the weirdest quote on a book, I think.
And I'm going to scream. It'll come out. So I don't know if everybody does. I work in a comic book shop. I see the books when they come in. We bag and board them when we sell them, and I always get to look at them first. And I can't wait for that cover to come in so I can be in the warehouse surrounded by my coworkers and just start screaming. Look, he touched them. He touched them. And everybody like, what?
It's like, oh God, what?
Like, who's touching what? Shut up! What's happening? You'd be like, you touched the turtles.
So, Dave, how about you? Is there like a bigger? I want to say, it does.
Is there a better comic that you want to work on?
Oh, that's not what I mean.
Is there a dream comic you would love to work on? There. How's that sound?
Despite my earlier comment to Jason, if he gets work on Turtles, please give them my number. And
special guest there?
Yeah, that's Reese.
Hi, Reese.
No, he's already gone.
Hi, Reese.
Which is a nice segue because he's silent like the night, which Batman would be my ideal.
Nice.
All right, so cool. So both y'all need to touch the turtles appropriately. That's right. Batman. Got it.
Yes.
Anyway, touching turtles and not. No, if the two of y'all worked on the Turtles book, I would buy every freaking cover. I would buy everything. I would. Just the work on Pocus that the two of y'all done. Yeah, anything y'all work on, I'm definitely gonna try to get my hands on.
Oh. Touch it.
Yeah, touch it.
I'm gonna call this the touching episode.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Me personally, I wouldn't put that on the internet.
This is what Jason has brought to the show.
It's all right. Like I said, we're not professional over here anyways, though.
That's right. All right, let's move the question to Alan. Alan, is there a dream project that you would love to work on?
Honestly, I would love to write a short Batman story or write a story spinoff for Chew.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those would be my two that I would love to do something with.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. I'm trying to think. Chew is the
detective.
People. Well, he doesn't eat people, but he has to eat people.
Yep.
And he sees the things.
Okay.
Oh.
Took me a second to remember. How about you, Will?
Well, definitely many. definitely a Batman. Definitely Batman. I mean, that would be like a dream come true. I think but I would also really like to. Spawn, I think, would be awesome. And I think of, just really of any horror anthology. I mean, it could be anything from like, Tales of the Crypt to Hotel, or something like that. I think that would be really, really, amazing. So.
I don't know why, but I all of a sudden really want to see you write for Stray Dogs.
Oh,
they're in their second story arc right now, and I feel like you need to do the third story arc. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, after hearing all of them, I think I see a Batman TMNT parody crossover.
Yeah. Well,
it's ironic too, because I was looking over at it for Brian, his dream comic to work on. He said there's a lot of dream comic projects that he'd love to work on, but this is in no particular order: Hellboy, Batman, Magic Order, Superman, and Spider-Man.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we're all doing
we're all doing Batman.
Yeah. Batman team in 4.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have a special cover.
Yeah, it's gonna say from the team that brought you Pocus Hocus, and people can say who? Yeah.
I'll be looking for it.
Yeah.
That's like Sony doing from the team that brought you No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
And Morbius and all that.
Oh.
Oh, we haven't seen it yet, but we've heard it's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's funny? I actually made those. I made that.
Not yet. I'm waiting for rental for that one.
I have not seen Morbius.
Have you
I
seen
think
the
we're
reviews
waiting
for
to see it
Morbius?
if it comes out on a streaming service because we have them all. So it's like, where are you going?
Right. Yeah.
Show me.
It'll probably be in one of our streaming services sooner rather than later.
Most likely. Yeah.
I still need to finish watching that pitch meeting, Alan.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, the pitch meeting for like the movie.
Morbius.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
My friend went and saw it last night, she got off work early and she went and saw it, and she texted me halfway through it, and I'm like, "Why are you texting me?"
She's like, "'Cause this
She's
is
like,
that bad."
"Don't come."
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
She's like, "Don't do it. Just don't." And I'm looking at my phone like, you're in the middle of a theater texting me. Why?
Well, she's probably the only person in the theater.
So, but yeah, it was.
I don't normally go off reviews for stuff because there's been plenty of things where people are like, that's terrible and I loved it, or oh, this is great and I thought this was garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
This one might be the one that we listen to people.
Yeah.
This might be the one.
Well, especially since movie tickets are so like insanely expensive, you know. I mean, it's yeah. You got. I mean, it's like I'm the same. I'm like you, Jay. I try not to go totally off of reviews, but I mean, these days I have to. You know, now that Movie Pass was a total disaster, I have to pick and choose. You know what I see, or I'll go bankrupt. You know, so yeah, I totally.
It all shows up on a streaming service at some point, right?
Right, it does. No, that's true.
There's only a couple that are out there that we'll actually go to the theater for, but then the rest of them we wait.
Yeah.
Has there been any movies announced this year that y'all actually want to go to a theater for?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Dave is very excited.
Yeah.
Let's
Doctor
go.
Strange.
Go ahead, Dave.
Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you have
Sam Raimi, possible, most likely, definitely appearance by Bruce Campbell.
Oh wow, I didn't know any of this.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
come on, Will. Come on.
I was so excited because at first they announced he was going to be in it, but then he was like, "Oh no, that was for something else," and I'm like, "You can't play me, Ash.
Yeah.
Can't do it."
That's the same way with all of them. They all lie about being in the actual thing, and it's like, dude, come on.
Just saying.
We're not. We're conspiracists when it comes to these movies at this point. At this point, I think everybody's going to show up.
How about you, Jason? What are you excited to see?
Yeah, Doctor Strange, the Batman.
Oh, that was so
Oh,
good.
have you not seen the Batman?
No, I haven't.
It's
So good.
pretty solid. It's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, let's all just nod our head.
yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I haven't seen it either.
No, Dave's waiting for HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I was about to say that earlier when you mentioned everything coming to a streaming service because I mean, it's like the 16th or something. It's coming.
Yeah, it comes out next week.
Yeah.
That was a movie I was so excited for. I actually went to the theater to see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did too. Yeah, I did too. Power went out at work. Got a whole day off. I was like, yeah, I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got
Seize the day, Will. Seize the day.
There was
3 hours to
a
go.
cursed rumor for down here in the Woodlands where we were. So my coworker tried to watch it twice. We went and saw it. Another coworker tried to watch it twice. Something always happened. So the first time somebody went and saw it, the projector broke. So they sat there for 30 minutes before somebody came in and said, "By the way, it's not working." When we went and watched it, they left the overhead lights on for the first 5 minutes of the movie. And then they were like 6 grown tall men stood up and walked out and then came back. And as soon as they all sat down, the lights went off. And then the movie, I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's fine with me. Cool.
Yeah.
And then when my friend went to try and see it again, the screen broke. Like the big cloth screen.
Yeah.
It started tearing and they thought it would be fine. But like 20 minutes into the movie, it tore all the way down.
Oh no.
Behind it? How does that happen?
I don't know. They just said all of a sudden there was this giant rip and half of the screen just was on the ground.
That's called a curse.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then
after it happens so often.
Yeah.
And then when my roommate tried to go see it with her boyfriend, all electricity went out because there was a big storm going on. So they had to wait an hour and then the electricity came on. So it was literally like everybody in our area was trying to see it.
Wow.
But something kept happening.
That's crazy.
We've all seen it at this point, but like there was always a hiccup. And
Don't
now
go to
it's
theaters in Texas.
in this area, at least, like at my store, we're all like, "Did you see the Cursed movie?" And I'm like, "I saw 95% of it."
Yeah. Wow.
But
What about you, Alan? You got anything other than the Batman?
Yeah, Batman, obviously, Doctor Strange, and then I want to see The Northman really bad.
yes.
Yeah,
It
I'm
feels like
a big fan of
Thor-
Robert Eggers, so I think it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be cool to see Eric Northman be Eric Northman again.
Oh, was that one of the Skarsgårds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alexander.
Alexander Skarsgård. Okay.
Yeah. Eric Northman.
I remember. How about you? How about you, Will? You got anything
Sure.
you're excited to see?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that I'm blanking on, but I mean, definitely the Northman. I know it's not this year, but Dune, the second part of Dune, I'm really excited for. I will go to the theater to watch that. I also really want to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think. I heard
Yeah,
that.
that looks great.
Yeah, I've heard that our theater is actually getting it. Alan, I don't know if you knew this.
No, I just assumed they wouldn't.
I did too, and I just heard about it. So hopefully that will happen, and I'll get that I'll be able to go see that. But that's all I can think of right off the top of my head. But I'm sure there are several others.
I'm excited about that movie too. I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Michelle Yao one. Is that who that is in there?
Yeah, I think so. It's the filmmakers who did Swiss Army Man. And
Okay.
the music video for Turn Down for What? I think they did that one too. Yeah.
That was
What
the
a
most
repertoire.
ridiculous music video.
Yeah, it's going to be wild, I'm sure.
All I can think about is the music video now.
Yeah.
Okay, does everybody know what music video he's talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so for Dave, who's not thinking,
Dave's just tragically unhip, but go ahead.
Yeah.
at one point in this video, this woman's boobs start bouncing so big that you're just like, why am I watching this? What is? And they're literally just like crumping to the music.
That's the best explanation for this music video I think I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
ridiculous beyond
indescribable.
I mean, I feel like you just nailed it right on the head as to why people are watching it.
Yeah.
They're not the kind of boobs you want to see though.
Ah, fair. All right then.
Yeah.
So segueing back into comics after boobs, what?
Compose yourself, Jay. It'll be fine.
I'm trying to, man.
I have a secret. I'm an 8-year-old boy trapped in an adult woman's body. Okay.
It really is. Like dealing with a sophomore class sometimes with her.
That's the whole store. That's how we run the store. We're just a bunch of prepubescent boys. We make all the jokes of the. You said the word.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
If you guys ever get a chance, definitely come down to Space Cadets Collection here in Oak Ridge, Texas. You'll see. We're all a bunch of crazy people.
So, I do have a question. We'll start with Dave with this one. Do you remember the first comic you ever read?
Yeah, actually, it was an issue of Masters of the Universe when Marvel had the Star imprint back in the 80s sometime. It was like number 8, I think, with Hordak on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you happen to remember the comic shop you got it from? The name of it, or?
It was called Pathmark. It was a grocery store.
Oh.
Because
they used to carry comics in grocery stores.
Yep.
I think
Walmart does again.
they do actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a 3 or 4 pack of comics for like $10 or something like that.
And I think DC still has like the 100-page giant or whatever exclusives through them.
Will, same question, man. Do you remember your first comic and where you got it from?
No. I'm sure it was something Batman related when I was very, very, very young. I do remember getting comic books from the grocery store when I would go with my mom or whatever shopping when I was really, really small. But I know the one that really blew the doors open for me in terms of, and it was like in my middle school years, It was actually more like middle school, beginning of high school. It was Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Squee.
Oh my god, I feel old now.
Yeah, it's that was when I was like, okay, this is something that I feel like I would be interested in, like working creatively with or whatever. But those, I just thought they were, my dark sense of humor began at a very early age, So I remember reading those and just thinking, like, God, this is the funniest stuff I've ever. I mean, it's completely inappropriate, but I mean, holy.
I'm pretty sure my favorite scene is when he's in like the store and he throws his hands up. He's like, "It's okay, I'm all right. I think my spleen exploded, but
Yeah.
I'm okay." Yeah, I have those.
I love when he dies and goes to heaven and realizes he has magic powers to make people's heads explode.
Yeah.
So that's like all he does, and his guide in heaven can't get him to listen to anything that they're saying because he's too busy like running around. It goes boom, and like everybody just explodes. It's just like insanity. But I mean, it was a really it was really witty. I mean, for like a Hot Topic, like goth kind of comic book, it was really witty and well written and funny. And I still look back on those. I've got the collection somewhere over there.
So did you? Okay, so since I found somebody else who has read this book, because nobody else ever knows what I'm talking about when it comes to this book. Did you get the follow-up one, Squee?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you feel about
the big
Johnny messing with that kid so hard that's what he's let to, like?
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's pretty dark, but I want to point out something about the Squee book that's so great. Is half of it is the Squee comics, and then the other half is like just like little one-offs, and those are so funny. Some of them I cannot describe openly here, but there's one that involves an alien, a group of aliens that abduct a man and a chicken. There's another one that involves a guy on a date who soils himself on the date. It's
somebody put shit in my pants.
Yeah. That's the line. Can we say that? That is the funniest.
I already said it.
Right. Okay. That's the funny. Like at the end of it, he shits his pants and then
he grabs his head and then he runs away.
Yeah, he spends the rest of the comic trying to figure out. It's just thought bubbles trying to figure out. Oh my God, how do I get out of this? Like, I mean, and I don't, like I could tell her this or I could tell her that. And the conclusion he lands on in the final panel of the comic is he just stands up in the middle of the restaurant and goes, "Oh my God, someone put all this shit in my pants." And then to the bathroom. And it's like, it's hilarious. Like, I mean, it's really, really funny. Really funny.
That's the reason I like you guys.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the kind of, and I mean, hopefully maybe some of that is obvious with Pocus, and the dark comedy and that kind of thing, but I've always like really leaned towards that, and that's when it really all started, I think, was with Jonas Vasquez and Invader Zim and Squee and all that stuff. So yeah.
So Jason, how about you, boss? You remember your first comic and where you got it from?
I don't remember the first one. My dad used to just get a boxes of them at garage sales, but the one that I really remember was when I bought the Spawn action figure, and it came with the first issue of Spawn.
Oh wow!
So that's the first one that I remember.
Nice. And Alan, what was your first one? Where'd you get it from?
So I bought it from Kroger. A supermarket. I feel like that's kind of like
I'm very familiar with Kroger.
Yeah. So Jay, I bought my first comic book from Kroger, and it was funny because I don't remember a lot from it, but I was a big fan of the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey as a kid. I mean, hell, I still am. Whatever. But I bought a Mask comic book where my grandma bought it for me, and we probably really should have looked through it first because it's nothing like the movie.
Yeah,
it was wildly inappropriate for my age.
It's so much better. It's so much better.
I remember being so confused,
and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like the comics in the movie. Like, I have questions about that. Where did they get the inspiration for the movie The Mask if it wasn't like the comics? Like, where is that bridged? And
there's some of the comic in the movie, but I mean, there's a little bit, very little. Like,
I'll have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, you have to go back and read it. There's parts of it, but they happen differently in the comic than they do in the movie. Like, he still shows up at the garage to mess with the mechanics.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, but it ends a lot differently than it does in the movie. I got a question Sean had for Brian. I'm gonna read off real fast. Mm-hmm. Sean wanted to know if Brian listened to music when he drew, and what does he listen to? And Brian answered, I listen to music a lot, mostly metal and heavy metal. I sneak in a few love songs and pop once in a while. Bands I listen to the most are Metallica, Slipknot, and Killswitch Engage. These types of music relaxes me and lets me draw in any mood the page has. So going off that, do any of y'all, and we'll start with Jason, do you listen to music or anything while you're working? And what do you like to listen
to? Music, audiobooks. I've gone through all 9 seasons of Seinfeld like 11 times. Wow. I mean, I work at home. I just listen to things and YouTube, just whatever just pops in my head. Need to catch up on some movies. But yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and answer.
As far as music,
shut up, Alan.
And what?
I'm sorry. Keep going, Jason. Wait your turn.
Yeah, as far as music goes, Tool is usually my go-to.
Sometimes you just have to mute Alan. Just mute him.
Alan, would you like to go next?
No. I thought Jason was done. My bad. No, I was going to say, I'm going to go and answer Dave's question. Dave listens to me on my drive to work while he letters.
That's correct.
Yep. And it's a lot of your fault, Dave. You called me first.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Well, Alan, while we're on, man, do you listen to any music when you're working, or
no? Actually, because Will and I we always work together. We never work apart. The only time I know, right? The only time we work apart is whenever we're just getting cliff notes to work together.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of those things where we don't want to overdo it, so we just try to get all of our ideas together throughout the week, and then whenever we meet up on Sundays are usually our writing days. We try to hammer stuff out that way. So I guess we listen to the sound of a keyboard. It's our favorite song.
Yeah, when in writing together, it's mostly. I mean, I feel like there's so much energy going around that it would like drown. It would drown out any music. When I'm working on something that by myself, that's not comic book related, I listen to music sometimes. If it's something that's horror related, like in the horror genre, typically I will listen to something that's very poppy, that's very happy, it's very cheerful, and there's a dynamic there's some kind of dynamic, I forget what it's called, that you'll see that in horror films too, that where it's like you'll have something really terrible happening while something very cheerful is playing, and for some reason just that balance has always worked for me. It's like some kind of like weird opposite effect, like in 2001: A Space Odyssey, when the spaceships are floating around but we're listening to like classical music from like way back in the day. Just that weird like dynamic is, I don't know, there's something about it for me. So I don't know.
Awesome. Well, Dave, was that a real answer from Alan, or do you?
Yeah. Other than his voice, is there anything that you listen to?
I listen to the dulcet tones of Alan. That's what I listen to.
Yeah.
Can you make that a playlist now? Can we put that on Spotify?
Yeah. Well, maybe. I'm sure some of it's actually on Spotify. No, I listen to metal, stoner rock, punk, anything along those lines. Usually Alan sends me 50% good bands and 50% bad bands.
Hey, you don't know till you try, right?
That's right. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't.
Now, when you say punk, are we talking like classic, like the Ramones, or are we talking about like Blink-182, Sum 41?
No, not Blink-182 or Sum 41.
Okay.
None of that. No. Like NoFX, Misfits, Dead Kennedys, proper punk.
Okay. I always have to like know.
Yeah, that will never be a thing. I don't know how they happened, but they shouldn't have. Speaking of too much, the Dwarves. I love them.
You do love the Dwarves. All their album covers are very intense.
That they are. They go back to what Jen was talking about earlier with that one video.
They do.
Look, Jay's already embarrassed. He's like, I gotta go.
Well, that's okay. I could just take care of that right now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I don't know. There's been this newer kind of younger punk band that I've been listening to lately called Meet Me at the Altar, where it's uplifting and it makes you feel good, and they're kind of punk.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a chick that's the main singer. She's so happy and bouncy in all the music videos that you don't realize you're listening. Like, if you don't have the volume turned up for the music video, you wouldn't think that it was like punk. Hey, don't shake your head at me, mister. I know where you sleep at night.
So if I keep messing up, it'll be on the couch. So
Or the dog bed with the dog. Ha.
Use your comics to keep you warm. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, don't use your comics to keep you warm. The comics stay in the comic box unless you're reading them. He can use the puppers to keep him warm at night. Well, all right, guys. Dave has to leave us, so we're going to throw him up and everybody can have a good goodbye to him. Is there anywhere that people can find you on social media or website that you want to like shout out to, or anything that you want to give little hints to? Now's your time.
Yeah, you can find me easily on Facebook. Just Dave Lentz. I'm usually have something stupid as my profile picture. I don't know. Sometimes it's a picture of Alan. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's funny. I'm on Instagram as Dave Does Comics, and that's pretty much it. I don't care about Twitter. That's it.
Awesome. Super. Thank you for joining us today, and we can't wait to see what you do in the future. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks.
take care, Dave.
Let's show off the first picture. Ta-da! What is this?
That is my favorite page that we have. This is from issue 2.
Ta-da!
Yay! So the reason why I like this page so much is because I was hoping we were going to talk about this with Dave on here. I was going to make a stab because there's no letters on it. But I absolutely love this page because I think this was one of the first pages that screamed the type of horror that I like whenever we first did it. And the coloring with this, with what Jason did and how the green's reflecting off of everything, and it's so intense and in your face. I absolutely love it. And just Brian just knocked it out of the park with this. And I this is by far my favorite page. Just because, and I also think it sets the tone too for what's about to happen for the rest of the story.
So good.
Oh my gosh. Anybody else wanted to say anything about the page before I go on to the next page?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to work on this.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. And next.
Okay, that one was Dave's page, I think.
Oh,
was this yours? Or Jason, was this yours?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay. All right.
Unless Dave picked the same one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
all right.
That
So tell
is
us about
so
it.
dope.
When I got that page, it's always a treat when I get to open it up and something like that is happening, and it's just there's a mix of that visceralness and that comedy that you have in that top panel, where that shadow is just coming over all those guys, and you just really have a oh shit.
This was a lot of fun to write, by the way. And we actually left this one relatively blank. I think the only thing that we wrote on there was just the first panel, and it was just the demons look up at the giant monster, and then we put panel 2 through question mark Brian go crazy, and he just did this.
So good. It's
So I
so
feel like
good.
you need to ask him to go crazy more often, huh?
I think
We're getting better at that.
yeah, okay.
We're getting better at that. Yeah.
All right, and pot 3.
Yeah, that one's mine, and I just think it's I just really think it's beautiful. Like it's the perfect opportunity to really show off this balance of black and white and color before they get to hell, and just really just show off like really what what Jason's capable of, and also this idea of when he uses his powers, things really pop. I just, other than that, it's really hard for me to explain why I love this so much. It's I love the blue in the tank, and the juxtaposition of the collar with the black and white, and we get one of our first glimpses of Horace there with the pink and all of that. It's just it just balances. It's everything that I think of when I think of black and white with splashes of color. So, which has really been a dream of mine to work on something related to that or in that style in some way since since I read Sin City way back in the day. So I mean, like it's even though I didn't do it, I'm not responsible for it. Jason is the one. It's all him with the collar there. I just really think it's there's something magical about it. So
I remember getting this page. And
we geeked out over it.
Yeah. Panel 2 for me is what sold the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
How Jason put the glare with the lights against the tank itself, and then the bright blue in there. Oh yeah, I think that was really the first page that Will and I tripped out over.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right. So, by the way, I do have a confession to make. Horace is my favorite.
We get it. We understand. He's.
I don't think you're alone.
Yeah.
I love bunnies.
Yeah.
Stabity Bunny, Horace. Why is there not more? I'm disappointed. Just saying. Bunnies are so evil, and that's coming from somebody who's raised over 300 of them. They're so evil.
Yeah.
And I wish more people would portray them for what they are, and that is evil.
They are.
All right, get to the next picture. There you go.
Okay, this one was Brian's.
Ah.
Yeah. Jason actually picked this one first, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was ironic when Brian sent that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to choose.
So good.
I think it was. I can't remember what show it was or what episode it was. It was you or Sean, Jay, that were talking about how hard it is for some colorists to really drive home like an amber or a gold color. And I think
probably Sean.
Okay, and I think Jason absolutely knocked it out with this one.
Yeah.
Like this page, whenever we got it back, it was just and then how Dave put blue speech bubble or blue lettering inside the speech bubble for Pocus right there. That was just to show that his words had magic and he was really using it. And it was just, that page is just, it's so good. Brian just, how he did the camera angle against the demon's hands that are being blown away and everything. It's just, the force perspective is amazing on this.
The details on Pocus's attire are really great too here.
Yeah.
Down to the shine, around the scarf on his neck and all of that. Like it's the shine on his gloves up there is like, I mean it's fantastic.
It's just good job, Jason. Good job, Brian. Good job, Dave.
The page is all around just breathtakingly beautiful.
And I love how. Sorry, one more thing I want to say, because whenever I talked about it with Will, it's in panel 1 how Jason did the highlights on Pocus's face did make it look skull-like. Yeah.
So what made you think of doing that, by the way?
Coloring it in that kind of what's that, more of a glow?
Yeah.
It's an intense moment, and sometimes you just punch it out and give it a bit more of a feeling, just to sell that punch.
Okay. So, and then we have one more picture and skadoosh.
So this is where I got it confused, was because I thought it was funny because Jason picked the first page and then Dave picked the page right after Jason. Because they go in sequence whenever you read the book. Dave's favorite part of this, whenever we talked about it, was the umbrella effect on panel 3 of all the guts falling on top of them. That was his, he talked about it at the top of the interview. This was just his favorite page, just I think solely for that reason and how Brian illustrated it, and just the looks on their face. This actually was it's a cool combination to see, because Jason obviously added so much detail to this with how he colored the mist and everything going around it. But originally, how it was written in the script is the guts actually hit on top of the dome, and then the guts are what collapsed it. But Brian just drew it with the arm crashing through it, and we love that so much better.
Yeah,
it just seemed like it fit better.
It does fit better. I mean, for a especially for the comic medium, you got that action there that's propelling it, as opposed to I think that if it had been like insinuated, the guts and gore was weighing down on the bubble and making it collapse, that may have been a little too subtle to read or something, for like a comic book. So that was definitely a really good touch. And the panel with them, with the actual gore raining down on them and the expression on their faces looks, I think, exactly like I imagined it when we were writing it. So that doesn't happen super often, and it doesn't always need to, but it's really cool when it does. It's like, I don't know, it's neat.
So, and that's it. That's all the pictures that I've got for you guys.
That third panel.
Yep.
I saw it. I laughed.
Oh yeah.
It's just the look of crap. Here it comes. Whatever.
Yeah.
On their faces, we're going to get covered in garbage. So blood, guts and hands and all kinds of.
They're over it. Yeah.
So I do have a question for you guys. So we kind of did this a little bit differently. Usually whenever we watch reviews, it's people talking about really what they liked about it, what drew them to it, especially coming off of your Pocus 2 review. Mm-hmm. So what did you guys like about Pocus 3? What drew you to it? And are you excited for issue 4?
Oh my gosh.
Put you on the spot.
Yes, you did. This is literally my first day off in 4 weeks.
Good.
So
it's a perfect time to answer this question.
And I still have emails to answer, so I'm so sorry.
Jen, I figured for you it was Horace.
Always Horace.
Yeah, because it's the first time we get to see him talk.
Yes. It was so good. I'm sorry. I read it and then I went back to work.
It's okay. Hey, totally fine.
You're fine.
I'm sorry.
I read it yesterday and forgot what I was going to talk about when we started. So,
dude, hey, listen, like Will said, we forget everything anyway. It don't matter.
I loved everything about this book, though. I'm being serious when I tell y'all this book is so good. It is so good that one day when I see this in shops and people talk about it, I'm going to be that guy that's like, oh, you just now heard about this?
You could be that pretentious guy.
Yeah. I've been reading this forever.
Yeah.
I'm back to Kickstarter.
I'm actually
so good though.
I can't remember if it was after the first one or after the second one where I talked to my boss, who's the owner of our shop, and I was like, you have to back this. And she was like, is there a retailer one? And I'm like, I don't know. Here's the dude. Talk to the dudes.
Yeah, so she actually did, and our shipment should be in this week for the physical copies. So then we'll be mailing those out very soon.
I'm so excited that our store is going to have it. Like,
Yep.
you have no idea. I have told everybody in my store, if they don't pick up a copy, I'm going to just chunk them out the warehouse door.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. That is actually
I
something
believe it.
I told them. Like,
Yeah.
I wore this shirt to work the day we got it. And I told my boss, she was like, "Oh, that's cute. What's that from?" And I'm like, here's all the
just
info."
word vomit.
And I gave her, it was after 2, because I gave her our copies of 1 and 2 to read. And we actually have a show that we do called Minute to Skim It. Every Tuesday, we read a bunch of books and we spend an hour talking about all the new books of that week. And she's already told me when 3 comes in, she wants me to do the review for it. Like, when they come into the store. Yeah. So what she'll probably do is she'll put it on one of her other live shows, and I'll probably call you guys or have message you guys like, hit on this StreamYard so you can talk about the book.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So that's my job at the store, by the way, is I kick my boss into buying random small books from small, like either small publishers or like Kickstarters and stuff like that. And she said of all the ones that I've told her to back, this was the one I was most excited about. Okay. And so
we'll definitely on there, right, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. This will probably be like when your stuff comes in, I will see your name on the box and I will message you, hey, you're going to be on What's in the Box.
Perfect.
Here's the StreamYard.
They're much more personal, and they'll remember things.
Yeah.
So.
And then she'll literally ask you, so the show is called What's in the Box. And it's literally what's in the box, because we get all these boxes in and she holds them until Thursday. Ooh. And she's like, all right, let's open this box. I don't know what's in it. You know, because I don't. So she'll open it and she'll be like, oh, look how awesome this is. Hey, creator, how much is this? We're selling it now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have to tell her, like, hey, no. There's 6 people who work in this store, so you have to save at least 3. Otherwise, I get to throw them out the warehouse door.
No.
So I can't wait. And also, I desperately need this so bad. When am I going to get a plush of my bunny?
Oh, man. So we actually looked into those. We did the amigurumis, so we were fortunate enough to have those made by Sadie Lane, but we actually looked at the plushies, and the plushies are crazy expensive, and we have to order. We got to order, I think, like 200.
Yeah.
Before they'll even send one. So I've been trying to find like a reasonable price for some of these things, but as of right now, until we get to we'll just say good boy level. Whenever we are making, doing really well on our Kickstarters that way, and then we can do like crazy big reward tiers. Yeah. Then we can probably start doing that.
Because in the room where Jay is at, I have Stabbity Bunny. Yeah. He's lonely.
We'll make sure his friend. Sticker. What is it?
Be happy with the shirt and sticker.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so happy. Stickers! I love stickers.
But awesome. No, we're excited, and we're happy you guys like 3. We're already working on 4 right now. I actually sent Jay the first 2 pages of issue 4.
Okay, cool. So since I'm off today, I need to go shake him for them. Got it.
I've read up to 3, obviously, with the PDF, and as soon as we get the physical in, I'm going to read it again.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to read 1, 2, and 3 again. I'm telling you, folks, if you have not read this story, if you have not, I don't know how much more to stress. We share every time they have something. We share it. We do videos on it all the time. We push this Kickstarter as hard as we can. The next time this book comes out, when 4 is ready to go, you will see even more videos of us pushing this. You have got to read this. It is beautiful art, beautiful colors. The story is hilarious when it needs to be, and it's such a great book. And that's it's not just because I'm biased toward y'all. I honestly, wholeheartedly can tell you, even if I didn't know y'all, even if you guys were jerks and never talked to me, I would still be like, those guys are dicks, but this book is awesome. Yeah. It really is.
But they're not, though. They're not.
No, you guys are all lovely folks. All lovely.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to be able to finally talk to you, man. I mean, we're friends on Facebook and all that good stuff, but it's awesome to finally be able to see you face to face and be able to have a conversation with you. I really do appreciate you coming on. I really do.
Thank you.
Same with you and Will. You guys are always welcome, all of you, anytime. Yeah. You ever got
that's something that Will and I talked about. Like, as soon as you guys have an invitation, we're there. So.
Well, here's the thing. I work always. I'm always at work. So it's like I found a way. I bribed somebody to take my shift today and to run the other live show. I was like, look, I will give you my copy of a book that I know you're looking for if you will let me have this day off. And then the other person, I had to promise a bowl of stew.
Oh, man.
Which I made last night, and he came over and ate some. So I've already paid my debts. And I was like, I told Jay like last week, I was like, you know what? I've trained 3 people. I can bribe 2 people. See what they're doing next Friday. He's like, okay.
And then now here we are.
Here we are. So you guys have to bribe the people next time.
Well, yeah, I mean, thank you guys for all of your support. It really, I mean, it means the world to us. And, you know, this has been, I mean, it's been a great interview. You know, I think, this, you know, I can speak for Alan also and say that, you know, it's been very, you know, very relaxed and enjoyable, which is not, I mean, you know, not always the case, because sometimes, and it's not even that the interviews are bad or anything like that. It's just when you don't know someone or you've not been interviewed before, you don't always know how it's going to go. And I mean, this was like, I mean, just very, very enjoyable.
It almost felt like a bunch of old friends from high school.
Yeah, that's how I always feel.
Yeah. I mean, which is, I mean, again, that's rare, you know. So it's.
That's how we want it to feel. We don't want y'all to think this is going to be another by the numbers, because obviously it's not.
Right.
I mean, I still have one more question, and it's the most important question of the day. Okay. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen my past interviews that I've done before for like Pride Month, but anyways, I always have one question, and it's known as the most important question of the day. And I have to know this. What is your favorite type of grilled cheese?
Oh.
Will, do you want to go first?
I do have an answer for that question. So they're not around anymore in West Virginia that I'm aware of. Maybe they are somewhere, but Uno Bar and Grill used to have an incredible grilled cheese that was like several different types of cheeses on what was that bread? It was kind of like a sourdough textured bread.
Okay.
But it was amazing. I tried to mimic it in my apartment, but I also really like pimento grilled cheese.
Ooh, okay.
Those are pretty tasty. So
do you ever have some soup with it? When you do
chili.
your pimento one? Oh,
I'm a chili fiend.
Okay. You and I need to talk about recipes. You and I need to talk about recipes.
Totally. I mean,
I'm in South Texas. We know chili.
Oh yeah, no, I believe it. I adore it. So it pairs very well with grilled cheeses. Although it's not often that I find the right grilled cheese paired with like the perfect chili, so I'm on an eternal quest.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my, you know.
All right, Jason, what's yours? What's your favorite grilled cheese, and what kind of soup would you pair it with?
I'm pretty basic. I would go with cheddar and tomato soup.
I do.
Choices.
The kind of tomato soup with milk, or the kind with water, though? Creamy or watery?
I'd have to go with the creamier kind.
Okay. It's always important. It's always important, man. And Alan, same question.
My favorite grilled cheese is what my grandma used to make me whenever I was little,
Aw.
and that's just sunbeam bread with country crock butter on both sides, one slice of Kraft American cheese. That's it.
Perfect.
Can't beat it. And tomato soup.
Creamy or watery?
Classic.
Oh, creamy, always creamy.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So yes, that's
ABC, always be
important
creamy.
question.
You know how we do.
Always.
There's kiss. Keep it simple.
That's really that's funny, Alan. I'm Glenn Ross nut. So like the always be closing, always be creamy. That's
always be creamy, baby.
you got me. You got me. That happens from time to time. You know.
Oh. Whenever I'm cooking, Jay has this thing. I mean, it's called KISS. It's called Keep It Simple, Stupid.
Yes. Always.
It's not just me. He tells everybody that.
Yeah.
Got our nieces and nephews are learning to cook, and he's like, "Yo, remember KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple." Yeah, that's good advice for cooking. I think culinary anything. Yeah.
All right, I've got all my important questions out of the way. What about you, Jay?
How much longer till 4? How much longer till 4?
So we've already started on it, which is good. Script's done. We got 2 pages already done. Brian's going to be sending those over to me soon, and I'll be forwarding those to Jason. And then Dave will knock those out. So at the pace that we're going, we're looking to launch issue 4 in June. So that way we could launch earlier if we wanted to, but I want to make sure 3 gets into everybody's hands, and we like to be at a certain point with the pages being completed before we start a Kickstarter, because we don't like I hate the overlap in when the campaign ends than to when we actually get the book in everyone's hands. So I try to respect our fan base and our readers and the people who have donated to us as much as possible by getting them what they paid for as soon as possible.
Oh,
So
you respect us. That's
no,
so
I mean, without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this right now, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big things. So we like to wait till we're at a certain point, then we can kind of predict where we're going to be, and then we launch the campaign. So
awesome.
Yep.
And we will back it as soon as it's launched.
Oh yeah, you definitely know that.
Yep.
Yeah, flame.
If we're not awake or at work, it'll be as soon as it launches. Knowing Jay though, he'll probably say, he's like, okay, it's supposed to launch at this time. Let me send an alarm on my phone.
Launch at 9. Yeah, I think we launched at 9, and Jay was like the 5th person I think that donated. It was something like that. Yep.
And before we go, I just want to say to anyone who might be watching, like future comic book creators, artists, writers, that kind of thing, these are the guys that you want on your team. I mean, for real. I mean, because like real talk here, like I mean, the fans are the most important. That's not a joke. That's not a lie. And Alan and I have learned this, and we knew it going in, but we especially learned it as we've developed this project and these issues. And you guys, you want people like Jay and Jenna, supporting you and on your team. I made a status update a couple days ago, talking about just this little visual album that I did at this little concert at Marshall U, my alma mater, a couple days ago. It was an informal concert, but it was a project that meant a lot to me, and these guys liked it, supported it. They didn't have to do that. It was nothing comic book related. They're really good people, and so I just want to put that out there and thank you guys for all your support and all your help.
You're gonna make me blush.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those things where, like, on social media, I am not always the most active and that kind of thing. So I just want you guys to know, like, firsthand, face to face, that it really does mean a lot. And thank you. So
absolutely, it doesn't have to be comics. We're friends on Facebook. If any of y'all post something, if I find it funny, I'm going to laugh at it. I'm going to comment on it. Like, it's not just for comics.
Yeah.
Anything y'all put out there, I'm gonna like or share or whatever I can do.
I appreciate that.
So I definitely know Jay doesn't friend everybody on Facebook. He friends only the people he actually wants to be real friends with. So if he friends you on Facebook, he's considering you a friend, not just an internet friend, but a friend. So that's when he says we're friends on Facebook. He means we're actually friends because I don't friend everybody.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
not me. I friend everybody.
You don't know a stranger. You don't know a stranger.
Well, I think that goes back to my biker days, but that's neither here nor there.
So, folks, that's going to do it for us. I really, really want to thank Dave, Jason, Will, Alan, and yes, even Jenna for helping me along with this. You helped me tremendously with this interview, so thank you very much. Before we go, just one more time, because I forgot to say this. I'm going to go ahead and say this. Jason, where can folks find you on social media?
You can look me up on Facebook, Instagram at Jason Station.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, Will?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook also, but my as Will Radford, my Instagram handle is willrad82, WILLRAD82. And if you want to check out my video work, that's vimeo.com/willrad, WILLRAD. So.
Awesome. And Alan?
Yeah, so obviously if you have any questions about anything as far as the comic is concerned or just whatever, you can reach Will and myself at pocushocuscomic@gmail.com. Obviously, the best way to stay connected with us is following us through Kickstarter. That's going to be notified whenever one of our dumb projects goes live. And you can find me on Twitter at Chaps of Fury.
Awesome. Well, for Jenna and myself and everybody else here at Triangle of Truth, guys, we love the book. Can't wait to get that physical copy, and we can't wait till 4 launches. So I want all of you to have a great night and an awesome weekend, and we will catch y'all next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.